Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. What a result! What a result! Bloody hell! Do you know what? I wasn't expecting it. I thought that was going to be it. I thought we was going to go crashing out. From the first four games, what we've watched, it's been abject shit, isn't it? That was different today. It weren't perfect. I mean, we didn't really sort of craft any real chances from open play until late on in the game. There were still some things that were irritating me from the game. The likes of Harry Kane playing more at left back than he was up front. You know, that ball that Saka flashed across the goal in the first half, and he's just not there. He's just not there. But we were far better. That was, the press was brilliant in the first half, especially. I thought we were a better team in the first half. Considerably better than Switzerland in that first half. And this is not a bad team. This ain't Slovakia we've just played. I know people are saying it was still crap, it was still boring, we didn't create much. Slovakia battered Italy. They're a good team, really, really good team. So I don't know. I'm flip flopping. I've got me where England are concerned, I've got me flip flops on. I haven't got the same sort of level of emotional investment as I have with West Ham. I don't look at it as in depth. I just kind of, these tournaments. It's only a few games. You kind of want to get to where you got to get to and try and get that sort of success. And you want to see good football as well. And I do think that we were seeing that. And I'm not talking about, like I said, liquid football. It weren't, but we were pressing, we were hunting the ball down. We seemed more galvanised as a team. It looked so much better. Konza did a very, very good job when he came in, because they're forward. I can't think of his name. The one who scored, very, very good player, and he did a very good job sort of keeping him quiet for the most part. First half, like I said, I think it was our half without crafting too much by way of chances, but second half, we did kind of sit off, I felt. Also, Switzerland made tweaks. They also made those substitutions as well, which lifted their game. Southgate was very reactive, as usual. He was, but he did react. So, Switzerland made tweaks. They got their goal. We reacted to that immediately. Brought off, it was good to see Luke Shaw, brought in at left back for Trippier. They brought off Mainu as well, who, it was a shame that he came off because I thought he was one of the shining lights in the first half. That kid is unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a player. You would never believe he's 19. You'd never believe he's only been playing top flight football this season and only a portion of it as well. That moment in the first half where the ball breaks to him in midfield and he just kind of opens his body up and drives with the ball. His decision making is literally on point every single time. Really top class player. Bellingham had a much better game in this one. Saka, who's a player that I do like to give stick to as well. Phenomenal. Not just because of his goal. He was very good in the first half. And, he's the one that brought us back into it. And he showed massive nuts when we got to penalties, which I'm going to go on to talk about in a second as well. And there is going to be some relevance to West Ham in what I'm talking about here as well. Just so you know. Once I'm through with England. But we kind of got that goal back. It was very, very, Southgate made his changes. Palmer came on. Toney came on. Love Toney. I really do. Ivan Toney. I'm going to go on to talk about you in a minute, all right? But I made a tweet following that game. My latest player crush. You've got to come to West Ham, mate. You're made for West Ham. You'll be a legend at West Ham. Honestly, fantastic. That penalty just focused on the goalkeeper. Don't even look at his feet. What is that? Who does that? In that moment as well. What a player. What a player. But no, went to extra time. I think Switzerland were bothering us more than we were bothering them. They wanted that winning goal. We seemed to be quite comfortable. We was pushing 4 penalties, and by the time it came 2 penalties, you probably could kind of see why we were happy to settle for penalties as well, because this is a different group of players. They're a different group of players. They got nerves of steel. I mean, Cole Palmer, with that first one, just stroking the ball in. And it was the same, penalty after penalty, even Trent. So, first of all, massive shout out to Toney, to Saka for having the bollocks to step up after what happened to him last time out. Huge bollocks to step up there and then go and just slot the ball away like he did there. Massive, well done, and a great goal that he scored as well. But Trent, to get brought on again, and we've seen this before with Southgate, where he's brought a player on, he brought 3 players on to take penalties, and it didn't go so well, did it? So he's brought Trent on. I'm sure he didn't even kick a ball, did he? No, he didn't. He didn't. He brought him on 4 penalties. What a penalty to win it, But it was like those players had no nerves at all. None. And what I got from that game was, although it wasn't, like I said, it isn't liquid football. It isn't what we know that lot are capable of. It's not. It's very direct. Still, I don't know why. Whenever Pickford gets a goal kick, it's a direct hoof up the pitch. And more often than not, we lose it because Kane doesn't win it. And it comes straight back at us. I don't know why we do that. We've got the ability to play it from the back, but we never do. But that's where we are. We've got Southgate, but the players have made the most of it. They have. They kind of seem to have grabbed the ball by the horns, and that was a good performance. The pressing, particularly, we pressed as a team, because if you press, you've got to press as a team. You can't just press one or two players. You start leaving gaps everywhere. We were hunting impacts. We didn't give Switzerland a second to settle on the ball. It's a shame that didn't continue in the second half. It didn't. But that was good. I don't think we're going to face a better team. I'm going to say that now. I don't think Holland, who are playing now, they're 1-0 down at the moment. I don't think Holland are a better team than Switzerland. They're not. Switzerland are a good team that battered Italy. They're a good team. So I think providing we can build on this momentum, like we seem to be throughout this tournament, and we can keep on improving, because we seem to be improving, there's no reason why we can't be looking at a final. And if you're looking at a final, you're going to be looking at Spain or France, obviously. It's probably going to be Spain. But, if it's one game, you just don't know. Spain have been phenomenal in this competition, by far the best team. But when it comes down to one game, anything can happen. And we've got as good at individuals as what they've got. We have. So on our day, I'm pretty certain that we can do it. And do you know what? It could be coming home. It could be coming home. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like it is. Like I said, massive flip-flops I've got on my feet. I'll give credit to Southgate in this one, credit where it's due as well. I think the tactics did work well. When he set up with 3 at the back, I was worried it was going to be 5 at the back. It was not. It was a 3-4-3, which is a formation that I think West Ham are going to be playing next season. And like I said to you, I am going to go on to talk about this as well. It was a 3-4-3. It was wonderful. It was brilliant. The wide players were wingers. It was so attacking, and it really does give you a little bit more of a kind of an added dimension when you press in, when you're trying to hunt impacts, get the ball back. What we was lacking as England in that first half, we were lacking a striker. If we'd have had Ivan Toney in 90 minutes, I'm telling you, Ivan Toney or Watkins, that doesn't go to extra time. It doesn't go to penalties at all. We're carrying Kane. We're carrying Kane to the final. That's what we're doing. Obviously he went off because he pretended to hurt his leg just before the penalty shootout, but I'm glad he did, because Toney came on, did what he did. But no, I think that we could go on. We could do something in this competition. I do expect us now, after beating Switzerland, I expect us to get through the semi-final. I'm confident that we are now going to get into the final. And this is where the wheels normally come off, once you get your hopes up. But I do think that we'll get past, whether it's Turkey or the Netherlands, Holland. We'll get past them. I think we will. So no, I'm quite confident. I really, really am. And moving on to West Ham. So the first thing I want to say, I made a tweet tonight about Ivan Toney. Directly to Ivan Toney, saying, "Get your ass to West Ham," with a praying emoji, please. Heart, hammers, England. How good would he be leading their line? Honestly, I know he's not young. He's 28. He's 29. Whatever he is, but he is phenomenal. He's also had like 6 months to a year out of football. His body ain't battered. He's not. He's going to be good. Look at Antonio's 34. If you've got Toney and you've got him for 3, 4, 5 years, would be phenomenal for West Ham, especially for Lopetegui. He would be brilliant. He really would. He is a top player. I love his shithousery. I hate it when it's not for us, when it's for someone else. But in this situation, where he would be our player, it would be our bastard. I'd be very happy. I'd love us to go and get Toney. Honestly, I'd just be happy for us to spend the remaining money to go and get him. And then we'll, because we've seen the likes of Earthy, Alford, Casey, and all the other players that have been training with this team. We need a striker. We do. Toney would really be a statement signing. It would be, and it would, like I said to you, I watched a tactical breakdown of how Lopetegui is likely to play at West Ham, and a forward, a big, bustling, strong centre forward that's comfortable playing with his back to goal, winning the ball, holding it up and bringing other players into play is key in his system, and also a striker that's clinical as well, which we know Toney is. So I'm I would love Toney to come to West Ham. I think he'd be phenomenal. It'd be unbelievable. He really would be. I know that goes against the young players, but look, if we're going to get a balance, if you're looking at the likes of Guilherme who's 18 coming in, and we're going to go out and get a balance of players that are experienced, because Max Kilman's only 27. You know, I really feel good about Max Kilman now. Massive flip-flops on for that one, because I was one of the people that was saying, I don't think we should spend 40 million on him. I have said that, and I've said it the whole way through. And I agree with it to a degree, because if it was me, I wouldn't have spent 40 million on him. But I'm not Lopetegui. Lopetegui has worked with this man before. I've heard a reference to him on another channel where they've said, you know, this is, you know, he's equivalent of Sam Allardyce's Kevin Nolan. He's his leader. He knows how he works. He's also a captain as well. And I know a lot of people have said you can't just bring it up, including me, have said you can't bring a player in and give him the captaincy straight away. I think in our situation you can. People are saying Bowen. Bowen's too quiet. We had a quiet captain last year. Bowen, look, if he got the captaincy, I wouldn't complain. He leads by example in the way that he plays. He's not vocal enough. I like my captains to be nasty bastards. I really, really do. Bowen isn't that. The other one is Alvarez. He's the obvious choice. But we know that Alvarez, as much as I love him, I don't think that Alvarez is here for the long term. I think he's here for one more season, max, and then he's gone. He's been flashing his knickers to sort of go and get a move elsewhere. He will eventually move. I think he will, unless West Ham do phenomenally well this season and we get ourselves in Europa League, Champions League. Then, look, there's no reason for him to leave. But I do think he's a player that would like to move on based on his experiences last season with David Moyes. Well, I know that's the case. So maybe this season, Alvarez isn't the wisest choice. So to bring somebody in, if you're limited to these choices, because Kurt Zouma isn't going to be the captain next season, if you're limited to these choices, then why not Max Kilman? Why not? You know, I've heard him speak. He speaks really, really well. He's a London lad. You know, and when you think about it, we paid 30 million for Kurt Zouma. We've paid 40 million. We paid 40 million for him. We paid 35 for Aguerd. This is a 27-year-old English homegrown captain of another Premier League team that we've brought to our club, left-sided as well. He won't be the last, because I do think that we're going to be seeing more movement in the centre-back department. We're not going to be seeing Zouma and Aguerd feature next season. We're not. So we're obviously linked with Todibo, and I think we've offered them kind of a part exchange deal, trying to push either Aguerd or Zouma in that direction. But you know, it's like swapping a Skoda for a Porsche. So I don't know how much luck they're going to have on that front. I've got to be honest. But we are looking, and there's another player as well that I will open up and talk about next week. So there's another player from the Premier League. So we're linked with a raft of centre-backs. We are going to get another one. It won't just be Max Kilman. In addition to that, like I've said before, you've got the likes of Kudus, Paqueta, who has not gone yet, and he isn't going to be going anywhere on loan. I know we've had that story about him going to Flamengo. It's not going to happen. I do think that we're going to be seeing a midfield next season of Alvarez at the base, Paqueta and Kudus in the middle. I do. In some form, in some format. I do think we're going to be seeing that. Similar to what we saw today in the 3-4-3. And I know that only really gives you space for, if you play that way, it only really gives you space for, if you think about it logically, two central midfielders. But if you look at the way that England played today, that wasn't the case, was it? You know, we had Rice, we had Mainu, we had Bellingham, we had Foden. We got them in there and it worked well. The most important thing when you play in that system for it to work is that players are technical, players are good on the ball, players are mobile, players are physical. They can do a bit of everything. They can get the ball back, do their defensive duties, and they can get forward. Most importantly, they can carry the ball as well. It's really, really important in that system when you press and when you do everything else. It was when you get the ball, if you can't use the ball to move it forward, you've got to have the ability, the individual ability to move it from a central midfield area, carry the ball. Neither Souček or James Ward-Prowse have got that ability. They have not. They just recycle the ball. James Ward-Prowse does. I don't know what Souček does with the ball. He puts it in the net if you get it in the 18-yard box. We know that much. But in terms of in midfield, no. So I don't think Souček is going to be of any use whatsoever to Lopetegui. It's a sad truth. We're just going to be playing a different style, unfortunately, for him. But fortunately for us. So I am excited. I do think we're going to be playing a 3-4-3. I do think we're going to be seeing technical ball carriers in midfield. I think we're going to be seeing technical centre-backs at the back. as well. People who can play out, and I think it's going to be fantastic. But that striker is going to be so important to us. So important. And also something else as well, because we signed Guilherme a month ago now, and he's almost been forgotten about. We've got one of Brazil's brightest talents there. We have. And he's a player that's largely played out on the right-hand side for Palmeiras, I think it was, that he came from. But he's a player that's largely tipped to be a central midfield player, either an 8 or a 10, because of the ability that he's got, how well he operates in tight areas, his pace, his ball-carrying ability, his vision. He can see a pass. And obviously, he has got an eye for goal as well. So he is somebody that could fit that mould. If Paqueta was to move, I do think that we've potentially got a ready-made replacement already there. It's a lot to put on Guilherme's shoulders, being just 18 years old. Paqueta is a phenomenal player. He is. But I think what we're going to be looking at under Lopetegui, we're not going to be as reliant on individual brilliance to unlock teams and win us games next season. David Moyes, it was very much set a roadblock, get the ball forward and hope that Paqueta can pull a pass out of his arse out of nothing, and Kudus or Bowen can do a bit of individual brilliance and score a goal. It's going to be a lot more system-based under Lopetegui. We're going to be winning, creating chances. We're going to play as a team. So we're going to be seeing more team-based goals, It's going to be more about moves, passages of play, which is fucking brilliant. So there won't be such a heavy reliance on the likes of Paqueta. Obviously, it's a bonus if he's still here. But if not, we've got the likes of Guilherme who's ready to come in, and we are linked with other players as well. Absolutely, there will be a left winger coming in. There will be. Jota Silva is apparently sold on the move. He wants to move to West Ham. He's got a 17 million release clause, but he's got 1 year left on his contract. So West Ham are understandably being patient. They're quite confident on their status with this player. That I think they're confident that this player wants to come to West Ham. And when you look at that and you look at Benny going to Leon and you look at Kera moving on and you look at Fornals going on, when you're in this sort of situation as the buying club, you can be a little bit more forceful. Vlasic, when he went to Torino, this player wants to come to us. He's got a year left. They either sell him to us for less than 17 million or they're going to end up losing him for fuck all in a year, which will be a lot of money for them. They're not a massive team. So I reckon we're going to end up getting him for about 12 million, Jota Silva. And then you're going to be hearing my song on loop for the rest of the season. He's going to be great. He'll be a great player. If that doesn't happen, or even if it does, I'm told that we are back in for Wesley Gasova, who is the Brazilian player that Tim was first supposed to be bringing to West Ham when he went out to Brazil on his latest jaunt. It didn't happen. It broke down for whatever reason. So we're back in for him again. We're not on our own. Porto are also in for that player. They're offering a different type of deal to us. They're offering cash plus 2 players. We're not doing that unless they're happy to take Zuma and Aguirre plus Will-Prowse and Danny Ings and Souček. I don't know how well they're doing in the Brazilian league, but we're offering money. We still want to buy this player. He's another top player, so we could still be getting Wesley as well. And I am told that because of the way that Lopetegui plays and the way that he visualises football and the way that he utilises his squad, it's not going to be the case that, we've got our left winger now, we won't buy another left winger. I don't think that will be the case. I think having competition in key areas is going to be important for us, and it's important to Lopetegui to have a competitive environment for your team. Is so important to know that as a player in the first 11, if you trip up or your form drops off, you've got someone who's biting at your ankles to come in. That is a competitive environment that has not been harboured at West Ham under David Moyes. And I think that's where we've kind of not managed to get over the line. As well as what we've done in terms of position, we've never quite managed to get over the line and push through to get... The season will be... Because I gauge it on the Premier League. I know we got European success, but to get ultimate success in the Premier League, you've got to be ruthless. You've got to have that little bit of extra oomph. We didn't invest in that January transfer window, where we got 6th, but we probably should have got 4th. And we've done that. I don't think you're going to see the same under Lopetegui. He's not going to be happy to stand still. He wants to push forward. And the more I hear from Lopetegui, the happier I am. Honestly, the more I see of him, the behind-the-scenes videos from West Ham, I'm just getting more and more and more confident. And it's completely changed my mood. From the moment I saw their press conference, Tim and Julen's press conference, I was getting a bit negative prior to that. You know, it's like an instant reaction to me to West Ham based on previous experience. But there's something about that guy, and there's something about the fact that those two are working in tandem and they appear to have a good relationship that's making me feel good. It's making me feel all warm and fuzzy. And I do feel like we're going to go and have a fantastic season. I just do. I really do. We'll have to wait and see to see if that materialises. But you know, it's exciting. We've got a new start. You know, a lot of those players that are there have got new starts. I don't know what's going to happen to Maxwell Cornet. Apparently, he's been working his socks off, not just in training now, but he's been one of the players that's been working really hard in previous weeks and months. Because, well, either he wants to move or he wants to feature for us. Now, I don't know what sort of damage has been done in terms of relationship between Cornet and the club. We'll find out. The club, as people keep on saying, with Cornet. But look, he weren't a bad player when we bought him. He weren't. So he's another one. He's another one. You could see him maybe thrown in at left back. We know that he's played at left back before. You know, he really has. Especially if you're playing a wing back system, he could play there. He's got pace to burn. He's a very good player. I'm pretty certain that he could do what Emerson does. I don't want us to lose Emerson, and we may not. You know, from what I'm being told now, the noise is coming out of West Ham from the same people that were giving me negative stories when David Moyes was there about how people were not happy, people with this. Well, the noises are completely different now. The noises I'm getting from those same sources that were also unsure prior to the team returning to training is that Lopetegui is very, very good, very likeable, and the players appear to be very, very happy, very excited for the new season. So there might even be a case where you had players that were looking for the exit door, but now maybe Julen, he might have changed their minds. You just don't know. So look, it's all good for me as far as I'm concerned. You know, England, we're through to the semis. We're going to end up in the final, and then we're going to go and beat Spain. We're going to sign Ivan Toney. And we're going to go on as West Ham fans next season to watch a beautiful brand of football, and we're going to fall in love with football all over again. That's it from me. All right? Speak to you all soon. Come on, you irons.